We are now 13 weeks away from the North Downs Way 50 miler. And this week, we're going to make an absolute drastic change to our training. But before we go over that, let's get started with run number 1.
I'm really starting to love my Monday runs for the simple fact of, it used to be my off day, like, I don't know, mid last year, it's my rest day. But now I like it because I feel like it gives you a real good start to start the week. Whereas when I used to do Monday as my off day, like you get to Tuesday and you feel like, oh, I've got so much ahead of me now. While it's having my off day on Friday, yeah, it's just nice. So yeah, out here on the trails, getting 6 miles in, what a way to start the week.
Tuesday consisted of another easy trail run for myself, along with 40 minutes on the Stairmaster. I've been doing 40 minutes on the Stairmaster now for months and months and months. That is just a staple to the routine. And then the Tuesday run, which was out on the trails, I did go for a little bit more of an effort, put in a little bit more of a push, I'd say. So we did get 600 feet of elevation gain, which I always like in this kind of 6.5 miles that we do, but a nice way to wrap up that Tuesday. And when we get to Wednesday, this is when we made this big, massive change to our training.
So, you might be wondering, well, what's this big change that you've made to your training? Well, as I've said numerous times, we've got our second child very much on the way anytime soon. And given that the North Downs Way 50 is in May, and that's not that far away, with a newborn child, my number one priority is family. And essentially I know that when our little one is here, trying to do 18 miles on a Saturday, 12 miles on a Sunday is just not really going to be achievable. Now I have the beauty that I'm self-employed, subcontracted, so essentially my hours are when I want them to be, within reason. We work with Premier League clubs who obviously operate Monday to Friday 9 to 5, so can't like work middle of the night because they're not around. But I can do work late at night, which obviously can proceed into the following day. So what it essentially means is I've made a pretty drastic change, and we spoke to Matt, my running coach, about this, where Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, my little one goes to nursery, and when the newborn's here, that will still be the same. Now obviously I'm going to be there working from home with my wife when that newborn's here, but I've got to take the kid to nursery. So from 7:30 until 9:30, I will be getting in a 2-hour run on a Wednesday. And then later on in that day, in the evening, I'll do another 6 miles. So we'll be looking at about 18 miles every Wednesday. And on Thursday, I'll do that 2-hour run, which is the 12 miles again in the morning. And what that basically means is we're going to be getting 30 miles in on a Wednesday and Thursday. And the reason why it's such a drastic change is I've never done doubles before, as in I've not ran in the morning and then ran in the evening. But ultimately, I think that's going to give us the best chance of success of getting the mileage in. It's getting a bit dark now, so I'll be quick with this, but I've just been having the feeling of I am so happy that I made the change for my life when it comes to my health and fitness. This run has just been an absolute blast, and I think, you know, when I first came to where we are now at Kimber to run was in my marathon block about March last year, and yeah, it was just super tough to run around, and I'm so happy I've made that change in my life. So if you're thinking about it, You won't regret it. Just do it.
So before we get into the weekend and what we did then, I just want to touch on that Wednesday and Thursday. That probably felt the best double, like, long run days I've ever had throughout training for this North Downs Way 50 miler. Was obviously so unique in the sense of it was 12 miles and then 6 miles on one day and then the 12 on the next day. We got a lot of vert in as well, which was something that, you know, most of the time when I run on the long runs on the weekend, it's from home to the trails, so it's not as hilly. This was directly from the trails, which just helped massively in getting that vertical gain in. I did still manage to get my gym sessions done as well. The one of them was done from home, so not as high quality, I would say, but still managed to get them in on those days as well. And when it came to the weekend, it felt really nice knowing I have done the bulk of my training throughout the week, and now the weekend is just about getting in our back-to-back workouts. So I headed to Severn Valley Park Run with the attempt of trying to beat what I got on New Year's Day, which was where I finished first place in 19 minutes and 24. It's not a massively overpopulated park run, but that's what I wanted to go for. And we set off and we started off, you know, in that pace that I wanted to, but just over a mile into it, as we went through a couple of little turns and trails, the left-hand side of my back like twinged and was giving me quite a lot of pain. So I decided to slow down to see if that would ease off, and it didn't. So then I started walking, tried to stretch it out. Second place overtook me, made sure I was okay. I explained, you know, kind of what was going on. And then I was like, right, we'll just jog it in. And I carried on jogging and eventually thought, oh, I'll test a bit of pace again. And when I tested that pace again, it was all right. It wasn't there anymore. So, you know, we finished. So it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. 21 minutes and 9 seconds, which, yeah, you know, nowhere near kind of what I got on New Year's Day, but I wasn't too fussed. I was trying to make sure that the body was okay and the back was all right. The only thing I can think of is that when I warmed up, it was quite cold. I didn't really do any upper back sort of movements, and I normally tend to. I don't know why, I didn't, I forgot. So yeah, something definitely to pay attention to. On the Sunday, I decided before I did my workout, I'd get onto the Peloton for just 30 minutes. My Peloton screen has broke. It's in like a little shed in the garden. The shed's got a little bit of a leak in it. Didn't realize it's now gone on to the screen's not turning on. Bike still works though, so I didn't know what I was working at. Just 30 minutes, nice and easy. And then it was a little bit short on time, so I didn't get to do my workout outside. I had to go to the treadmill on the gym, and this was 4 by 5 minute hills and 1 3-minute hill to finish. So I was averaging 10 kilometers an hour at 7.5 incline, and then for the recoveries, which were also 5 minutes, 11 kilometers an hour at 0.5 incline. So overall, about 1,000 feet of vert in that session. And that actually I really enjoyed, and I enjoyed doing it on a treadmill because it just kept things consistent. I wanted to make sure I wasn't exceeding 170 beats a minute for my heart rate of just where I wanted that, and that was a nice sweet spot. So to kind of wrap up the week, absolutely smashed everything out of the park. Super happy with it. We got the 55 miles in, which was on the cards. We also hit 7,000 feet of vert. I've never got anywhere close to that. My highest amount of vert before was just shy of 5,000, and that is purely because of those, you know, long runs back to back directly from the trails as well, which was super helpful to be able to do that. Hit our gym sessions, did the Stairmaster, felt really good, been fueling really strong, been trying to focus on recovery, sleeping well as best as I can, you know, as we prepare for our second child to be on the way any day now, because then I will lose a lot of sleep, which is absolutely fine. But either way, a good week. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me know exactly what you're training for and how your training is going. And we'll see you in our next week of training for the North Downs Way 50 miler. If you want to see the playlist, click here and you'll see it. Cheers.